Everyone, it's David Ruff here. Thank you very much for coming by. Today, we're going to be talking about all the crazy things that are going on in the market. It is like a tsunami of stuff that is happening every day. And there is great opportunity on the other side of this, but there is going to be some rough, stormy seas in the meantime. Let's check out a couple of the articles from today so we can keep abreast of what's going on. All right, you guys, if we just check out this first article here, you guys, this is from a guy that you need to know if you don't know about this guy. His name is Jamie Dimon. Jamie Dimon, this guy is amazing. He runs the JP Morgan. He's the CEO. Now, when I'm saying amazing, I mean that this guy is huge. He's a big guy. Whether you like him or not, it's a different thing. But JP Morgan is a massive bank. When they say something, you want to be listening. Jamie Dimon on how the government can solve inflation. His answer is it can't. Now, this guy has obviously a huge amount of interest. All of his stocks, his company, all of it has to do with the prices of stocks. So he doesn't want them to go down, or does he? Because he can short the market. So that means that he can make his bets that as the market goes down, he can make money on that. Very famously in 2020, Bill Ackman made over $1 billion. It may have been a bit more actually, just in a couple of weeks, because he was betting it for it to go down. So there's all kinds of complex stuff that happens in the banks, you guys, but let's pick apart a couple of the things that he was saying. Number one, he says that it is going to go down and there's nothing you can do about fixing the inflation. Okay. Jamie Dimon is a very smart guy. Let's just look at some of the comments that I put here. He says, and the central bank just hiked rates 3/4 of a point for the third consecutive time, but in previous rate hikes haven't done the trick yet. Haven't done the trick yet, right? We keep hearing this all the time that the rate has to go higher to combat inflation. But remember, to combat inflation, the mortgage rate or the central bank rate has to be above what inflation is. So if they're stating that the interest rate is 8 or 9%, you would need to have mortgage rates at 10, 11% over the price of inflation. But we're not seeing that. And let me tell you, there's no way they can get to that. We wouldn't be able to afford the interest on our loans. So in the short term, we most likely, and possibly forever, are going to see negative yielding rates, which is very important for us to be able to track where we're going to be as we go through this process. A lot of people will be losing. Let's continue on with Mr. Jamie Dimon. Month over month percent changes in the overall CPI inflation rate are lower than earlier in 2022. Of course, we've raised the rates to the moon, but many experts wonder if it's enough, especially as the prices of basic expenses like food and shelter continue to rise. This is where we have a problem, you guys. On your first day in economics school or in high school, you're going to learn about something called supply and demand. So if you are going to have this low percentage paid in interest and a huge percentage of inflation, you're losing. Okay, let's break it down for something. If I asked you, would you lend me $100? And you said, yeah, Dave, I'll do it. For how much? And I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You give me $100, I'm going to give you $3 back at the end of the year. And you're like, wow, it's not a lot, but okay, at least I made $3 on my money. But then I tell you, wait a second, there's a $15 charge just to be able to do the transaction. And then you're scratching your head. You're like, hang on a second. I'm going to give you $100. I'm only going to make 3, but then I'm going to lose 15. I'm down $12. I lost money. I did you a favor and I lost money. That is exactly what's happening right now. When you borrow money or you have to pay interest, you have to pay interest to somebody. So when you could put your money in the bank and only make 2% on it, or if you buy a treasury, make 3% or something like that, but you're losing 10, 12, 15% in inflation, you lost money on the deal. Here, you're putting up all the money, you're risking your money, and you're still losing. Bad deal. Bad deal. So when they say experts are wondering if it's enough to combat inflation, I don't know what expert you're talking about, because I think most 9-year-olds would be able to tell you that that's wrong. As you see here, there was somebody from Congress, Senator John Kennedy. He wrote that inflation is gutting the American people like a fish. Not just America, by the way, all the other countries who are printing, which is all of them. Okay, let's continue down. Mr. Jamie Dimon, he says some good things, all right? Now, he's trying to be super politically correct, okay? He's just remember that. He's trying to be very politically correct. He says, I think a little less fiscal spending would be good. Saying 30% of GDP in the last 2 years, it's a little unprecedented. Well, first of all, it's not a little bit unprecedented, you guys. This has never happened before in the history of the world. So, not a little bit not a little bit, not even close. Okay, so let's get back to Mr. Jamie here. He says, when asked by Mr. Kennedy if the government needed to get off the backs of the American people in terms of regulation, Diamond agreed. So this is the difference, right? We have something that we call capitalism in the world. This is where you can buy and sell your home whenever you want. You can buy and sell your businesses whenever you want. Capitalism is the system, right, that you can get in, work hard, and improve your life. That's the American dream, the Canadian dream, is that you can improve the quality of your life if you work hard. Here is the problem. We don't really live in free market capitalism anymore where we could just run a business. There's so many regulations and rules and stuff. In the past, you may not have needed to have a full-time lawyer on staff and a full-time regularity person that looks after the regulations. You might not have to have, like in real estate, from us, a compliance officer. You don't need a master accountant to run the trust accounts. There's so many rules that are changing all on and on and on. It's so burdensome. It's ridiculous. We have to read like 3-4 hours a day to keep up on all the changes that is happening. It's crazy how many regulations. So that's why JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon here, is saying, yeah, if you reduce the regulations, we can then spend those extra 500 hours a year back on doing productive things instead of just wasting so much time. All right, let's get back to Mr. Jamie Dimon. We need less regulation. Yes. Dimon also noted that the federal government should also be considering actions around continuing to improve the supply side of the equation. Taxation, immigration regulation, healthcare, infrastructure bill. Okay, we need to see this because this is going to be the key here, okay? He noted, because all that the governments are doing is talking about getting rid of demand. This is making sure that we fix the supply side of the issue, right? Taxation, immigration, and healthcare. Okay, so listen, guys, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you think. I'm not talking about one certain government, one certain country. It doesn't really matter. I just want you to imagine this. I have 4 people here with 4 houses. Okay. Then all of a sudden, those 4 people in the 4 houses, they have a couple babies. They maybe they have a grandma living with them, and then a whole bunch of immigrants come to the country or whatever. Okay. Now there's more people than there is houses. What is the answer? If everyone has to get out of the rain tonight, the only answer is we got to take those people and put them inside the same homes, or we got to make everybody homeless. Okay. The government solution here, if you had those 4 people in those houses, their solution is we're going to drop the prices of the houses, maybe bankrupt a bunch of people. The people who are bankrupted are now on the street. Now it's cheap enough for the new people to move in and buy the same homes. We're still stuck with the same amount of people in the homes and the same amount of people in the streets. We're just moving it around. Does that make any sense to anybody? No, it does not. Nobody with common sense would say that works. And the system that we live in today, MMT, quantitative easing, money printing, MMT is modern monetary theory, where we can print as much money as we want and nothing bad will ever happen. Okay, so we printed a lot of money, and look what's been happening. The bill has come due, and there's a lot of payment. And I mean, the bill hasn't been paid yet. The pain is going to last for a while as payback for what we did over the past couple of years. So this is where Jamie Dimon is talking about the supply side. Okay, let's look at what he said again. He said we need to fix the actions around the supply side of the equation. That's what's important, you guys. If we have those 4 people in their homes and all these extra people, we need to build more homes. That's what we got to do. We need more homes. So the United States, it depends who you look at, 5 million, 6 million houses short. Canada short about 1 million houses. We need houses for people. That's what we need. So we got to be putting all our effort, time, possibly money coming from the government, possibly taxations, discounts on your tax to be able to get those people into homes. We got to build homes. Instead, the idea right now is we're going to wipe people out, and then the homes will come down to a better price. It sounds great in the news, you guys, when we're talking about, oh, we're going to lower prices for everybody. That means taking it away from some people to give it to other people. How about we just make more of it? Let's just change the fact that we talk about houses and call them bananas for a second. If there was a massive problem and we were short bananas on the entire planet, there's no bananas for everyone to eat, and the price of bananas went from $1 a pound to $2 a pound, and everybody is upset by that. The answer is not make bananas $4 a pound now, and then we'll cut it'll become balanced. No, go plant some more damn bananas, okay? Because people want more bananas. The answer isn't just raise the price to the moon. And that's what's kind of happening with all of this imbalance. It started in 2008, right, when they were printing all this money, and now it's continuing. The craziness is continuing, and it's gotten to like the crescendo, you know? So there's going to be some big changes that are going to be coming up, you guys. All right, so let's talk about the next one. Oh, my article isn't opening, guys, but the Fed is projecting 1.5 million people to be out of work next year. 1.5 million more people will not have jobs in the United States. That equates to, in Canada, around 150 to 200,000 people here will lose their jobs in Canada, but that is accounting only for 4%. 4% unemployment rate, when in reality, I would expect to see something more around 8% unemployment coming, could even go higher. So we got to make sure that your employment is going to be secure and start having possibly a second job. While we're on that topic about making sure that your employment is sure, right? We have to make sure that we have a second job. Your wife is going to have a second job. Whatever the jobs that you have are going to remain secure, because you have to make sure that you're going to make it through this really tough time. This is where I want you to build up some stuff in your home. Make sure that you have some water, some food, whatever, just in case there's ever shortages. My mom runs out of power all the time, so she has to have water, food, some backup power, right? She has to have that kind of stuff. And she doesn't even live that far out of town, like 1 kilometer. But because of that, we have to be prepared. All right, you guys. So let's look at the next one. Janet Yellen. I actually pulled up a map. Janet Yellen says Russia is offering enormous discounts on oil to China. Yeah, that's correct. But this is the crazy part, okay? What do you think China is doing instead of India? So this is the crazy part to me. If I need 10 liters of gas to get to work and back, I need 10 liters. Like, rationing it down to 8 liters isn't going to work. I got to get to work. So no matter what the price is, I have to pay it. No matter what, I need that gas to get to work and come home, right? So if the price goes up, you're just stuck paying it. Europe hasn't really cut back much on their oil. They are still selling the oil. Now, I'm going to show you the map in a second, but China is friends with Russia, right? They're right next to each other. And Europe used to have a pipe from Russia that connected right over to Europe. In fact, let's show you the map, you guys. And I'm going to show you what the Google Maps is. On the map, you can see that Russia is touching right away to China over in the east. They can send oil down to China at massive discounts. China then takes the oil and it puts it on a tanker and ships it all the way around Africa, all the way over to Europe. Now Europe gets the oil and burns the oil at massive premiums, 500, 600% premiums, massive. And they're like, screw you, Russia. We're not taking your oil that's flowing through the pipe through Belarus, to Germany, or under the Baltic Sea, which is up here. They have a pipe that runs under the Baltic Sea to Germany, or the ones that run down to Ukraine. They're like, no, we're not taking the Russian oil through a pipeline. And then they're like, haha, I showed you. And then they take the oil from China that actually came from Russia to begin with, send it over to Europe at hugely inflated prices, and they run their cars on that. Scenario 1, They're burning Russian oil. Scenario 2, they're running on Russian oil. Same thing. But they are self-imposed this massive premium to China. China's just raking in the money. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Only in a world like today could something like that happen, right? Now, what do you think is happening to the prices of their homes in Europe now that fuel prices are going to the moon? Everybody is going to be selling their homes. You're going to be in for a massive bad fall over there. Now, why do we talk about Europe all the time? Is because whatever happens there is going to have contagion here. The way all the banking systems are fixed, right? 1945, London, United States, Canada, were all intertwined. When all of the industry collapses in Europe over this winter, they can't build anything because they can't afford the gas. All of Germany's industry is shutting down, wanting to relocate to the States. Chinese industry is being shut down, moved to the United States. It's a whole world shakeup. So this winter, with food shortages and oil shortages, home prices are going to go down there. What does that do? It tanks the market. What is it going to do to my properties down in the United States? It's going to drop the prices in the America. It's going to drop the prices in Canada. A lot of dropping everywhere. So if all of your value, all of your equity is sitting in large properties in large cities with high leverage, you're probably in for a very bad winter and a very bad shock and awe as you see all your life savings evaporate. And that's what I want to avoid for you guys. I don't want you to get hurt like that. But if you go and look at what's been happening on the S&P 500, the S&P 500 is all red. The TSX, which is the Toronto Stock Exchange in Canada, says it is a sea of red. But ironically, the articles of today, look at this, the sell-off risks or boosts the odds of a recession. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay, since we ever even had textbooks, 2 quarters of declining GDP meant we're in a recession, which means we were officially in a recession in July, but all of us knew that it was a recession in April when we saw the absolute crash coming down. Yet nobody will admit that we're still in a recession. I still, to this day, I have millions of comments coming in, personal message, personal emails asking, do you think we're going to start into a recession? I'm just shaking my head because the news is telling us everything is fine. It's not fine. It's not fine. So if you're not protecting yourself, you're going to get hurt. And I'm trying to stand from the top of the mountain and scream it out that we're going to be having a lot of trouble. And it's kind of hard, man. It's kind of lonely too. You get a lot of blowback. A lot of people think that it's crazy, but listen, you have to take steps. So my dad always said you had to be better be a year early than a day late. So we used to go on fishing trips and stuff, and we would have a camper. We would bring a saw as a backup, but we had a chainsaw, always having backups, because we knew when we were out in the woods that we needed to know that we had backups and we had everything we need. Why did I bring a rain jacket? Well, it wasn't raining the day I left. It was just in case it rained. So you got to do all the just in cases. I say fill up your home, get some stuff, stock up on things, and get your financial life in order. As you know, I've been writing 2 books, you guys. I'm going to be having these books come out soon. I'm also having an entire course that's coming up. We're going to be adding a wait list that you can add the wait list to get more information when it comes out. We're going to be putting it in all our YouTube descriptions. So if you want one of our new books or you want to talk about the courses, you know, you can go to those links and get yourselves on the wait list, you guys. Anyway, as you know, I'm always here for your health, wealth, and happiness. Remember that I work in the beautiful city of Toronto. If you ever need me, you can reach out to me at Rough Team Realty. This is where we sell properties for people faster, for more money. We operate all around Ontario, but we are advisors and consultants all around North America to get you to your millionaire FIRE. You know what FIRE is? Financial independent, retire early. We try to get you to a full retirement within 36 months if you have the funds to start off on the plan. So if you guys ever need us, you can always reach out to us. Please send this to one person if you think any of this stuff can help. We really want you to survive, and not just survive, but thrive. There's opportunities when these bad times come. We can take advantage of them and make money off of them, and then we can have your family set up for decades to come. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope that you have a fantastic night, and I'll talk to you soon. Um, Hey, you guys, nice seeing you all. I got a lot of people over on TikTok. I got a lot of people on YouTube today. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming by. Freddie, thank you very much. Brooklyn, thank you. Hi, good to see you. Freddie, you're saying, would you move to Florida? Florida, was a purple state. It's a very red state now. So it is a very interesting place to be. Low taxes, high property taxes, though. There's other places I would move before Florida, but it really depends if you're opening a company. If you're opening a company, great place to move, I think. Bob Stone, you said this is going to get much worse unless Biden allows additional domestic energy. Absolutely. Absolutely. For sure. We need to have a domestic energy policy. This is the crazy chicken idea, okay, of the planet right now. Is everybody says, well, if I'm in the United States, if you're red or blue, or in Canada, if you're red or blue, right? More liberal, more conservative, whatever side you're on. And they're like, this is my policy. I can't have a brain otherwise. Listen, the reality is we need to have normal, reasonable things. Is this crazy? We live in 2022 and we can't just be reasonable on everything. The idea is that you should be fiscally responsible. I don't know what's happened to nut bar governments these days, printing money like there's no tomorrow. Modern monetary theory. You don't think there's going to be consequences to that? Come on, man. It's crazy that we're not fiscally responsible. Now, the Singaporeans, absolutely amazing people. They borrow money. We should. Right? Gold standard wasn't all cracked up that it could be. We needed to borrow money in order to grow. But the point is you borrowed money for productive purposes. If you borrowed money for productive purposes, you always make money. If you go and borrow money on your credit card to open a business and start making some money, productive purpose. If you go borrow money on your credit card for a new Louis Vuitton bag, then what? Right? It's not productive. Same in Canada. We just print money to spend. Singapore gets the money, builds an airport with it, has a fee in it, pays back the airport, and they're left with an airport forever. Productive purposes. Very smart. We should be fiscally responsible. Come on. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I have to toe the party line and say we should burn fuel forever. But we should have an alternative. I wish that we did have a better alternative. Heating up the planet's not a good idea. Killing everybody with poison in the air, killing the animals, melting the polar ice caps, it's a terrible idea. But the plans that they're doing right now, we don't have enough lithium on Earth to make all the battery cars. Plus, battery cars suck in Canada. 500 kilometers, yeah, whatever. If you go in the wintertime, now it's only 350 kilometers because cold is terrible for it. Well, and the guy said, well, do you need heating? Well, then you're going to lose another 100 kilometers if you turn on the heat. Oh, will you have another person in the car? Oh, then it's less than that too. So at the end of the day, it's not 500 kilometers, it's 200 kilometers, which doesn't work for us, right? We need more ideas, yes. And the idea of cutting back food supply, like cutting back all of the food that they have and going all green and like getting rid of all fertilizer. Really? You want to get rid of all fertilizer and kill hundreds of millions of people through starvation? Is that a good idea? I'm not saying that we shouldn't be treating the environment good. I wish that we could come up with some better ideas. But saying that we're going to kill off hundreds of millions of people, to me, is a terrible idea and putting the world into massive starvation. We have to go down the right path here. We need ideas, but the ideas that they're proposing are a little cuckoo. Maybe not. I'm being politically correct by saying a little cuckoo. I think it's like way. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think. Freddie, yeah, Alberta is fantastic. Yeah, I like Alberta. All right, you guys. But listen, if I lived in a state that was very, very dry and it was warm out, I would consider a battery car. No, it doesn't work here in Canada, and it doesn't work for anybody who ever has to drive anywhere. Jean the Builder, you said go out and buy silver. Absolutely, I agree with you. Claude, you said, listen, he's the same guy. He says, go out in the woods with a knife. My father used to say many years ago, I just want to put a backpack on with an axe and just go out into the woods and be myself. My dad was ahead of the times, man. He's ahead of the times. He knew it. Just go out there, catch some fish, have a peaceful life, right? Don't live with all the craziness. I thought he was nuts then, and now I think he was a visionary. Generations will suffer for the crazy government spending. So yeah, for sure. Here are the choices. Is one generation now could go absolutely bankrupt and go back to the Stone Age and restart everything from the ground up. Which there's a lot of people out there who want to push this great reset agenda, right? Take everybody, nobody owns any houses anymore. Nobody, the government takes absolutely everything. Everyone starts at $0 and starts again. That's kind of crazy, right? And that's what the International Monetary Fund and the World Economic Forum want to push. Bill Clinton this week is having like a 5-day conference on the Great Reset. Cuckoo. I mean, I can't believe it. So one generation could do it, or they're just going to strap austerity on many generations to come, which doesn't go well either. There's no way out of this. Nuclear power. Right, nuclear power that they run now by running on uranium doesn't really work. But if you can run nuclear power on something like thorium that's very plentiful and do it in a safer way, then nuclear power can be more sustainable. But there's a lot of problems. But here's a funny thing is whether we're talking about nuclear energy or food or all these are the building blocks to life. What does everybody need? They need food, power, and some kind of shelter. And they all are tied together, all of it. Banks look at it that if you take 100% of your salary, 30% of it goes to taxes, 30% of it goes to housing, and 30% of it, the other 30 or 40, goes to what? Food and all your other costs of living, so like diapers, clothing, whatever else. Here is the problem. Is if you take those categories, so governments are trying to raise the taxes, then your housing is going way up in prices. So what does that do? It forces the banks to lend you a lot less money for your home. Remember that just 2 years ago, we could easily get you 5 times your salary on a mortgage. So you make $100,000 a year, you can have a $500,000 mortgage. Now, you make $100,000 a year, you might only get $250,000 or $300,000. You can buy way less house, way less. So that is going to crater the prices of homes. The Canadian Real Estate Association just put out, when was it? Yesterday, 0.6% that prices have gone down. Don't worry, 0.6%. And we're all sitting here stunned. Are you kidding me? There's areas that are down 20, 25, 30%. In the States, the average, they're like, oh, we expect 10% down. Doesn't sound bad. But remember, for the national average to be 10, there's got to be areas that are going to drop a lot more than that. New York City and the big ones, right? San Francisco, they could be susceptible to 50% drops to make it a 10% average across the country. It's got to wipe out a lot of people. A lot of people. There's going to be a lot of pain coming. And all of this is because the governments have decided they are going to ruin demand. But remember, the example I gave you before, if you had 4 people in 4 homes and 4 people that are outside, the idea isn't bankrupt these 4 people, put them on the street and move the other 4 in. You still have 4 people who are going to be homeless. We need more homes. We need more supply. We have to build homes. At the same time that Canada's short 1 million homes, the government now wants to bring in 500,000 people per year into Canada. Okay, where on earth are they going to live? We have no houses. And all the other building projects are paused. I'm just thinking about the example. My brother called me a sink, $99 for a sink is now $299. They can't afford to build a home that's affordable anymore. You build a small starter home now, it might cost you $1 million. So what do you do with 500,000 people going to come over and all be homeless? I don't understand the plan here. It just doesn't even make sense to me. We have created so much damage. Yes, Freddie. I'm just blown away. Uh Devade Dong. There's a fake account under my name. Oh yeah, guys. This is very important, okay? For the past few weeks, we have been getting cloned over and over and over again with people with fake accounts. If you are seeing a fake account come up under my name, under any other name, it is fake. I will never ask you to contact me on WhatsApp or Telegram. I will never be contacting you through those channels. I have one, I don't have a backup account. I only have this one, Rough Team Realty. No underscores, no numbers at the end. I have no backup accounts. I've never been banned. So if you get any of this, it's all fraud. Please, please, please be careful. It would never be me contacting you. Unless you can speak to me on the phone or on Zoom, it's fraud. You can also email me if you want, contact@roughteamrealty.com. Roughteamrealty.com is my website. Contact@roughteamrealty is the website, my email. Bitcoin Cash to the moon. Yeah, man. I don't use Bitcoin Cash. Sorry, dude. Wait. Yeah, there's a lot of spam out there, man. Do you have a home or apartment? I have both. All right, you guys, did I answer all your questions for tonight? Listen, the world has gone absolutely mad. It's gone absolutely bonkers. Everybody is drinking some kind of Kool-Aid that's making them go crazy. Okay, so we have to take all of the news that you get out there and try and find the real truth in the center, right? So do you know when you're sitting in court, there's going to be a plaintiff on one side and a defendant on the other. And then the judge is going to sit there and go, okay, I'm going to hear your wacky story, which is bent that way, and your wacky story, which is bent that way. He's going to look for facts in the center and try to figure out what the truth is somewhere in the middle. News agencies have kind of lost all their honor, and they're always bending it for whatever political gain move that they're trying to do. So you got to look at it, news from a lot of different angles. Mr. Jim Rogers, he was talking to me not talking to me. He was talking on a YouTube video about him and how he's assimilating the information from Russia. From where we are, Russia's evil. Russia is the devil. You know, bad Russia. Everything's bad Russia. I'm not saying what they're doing is good, but he says he in the United States will read from a Republican source in the U.S., from a Democrat source in the U.S. Then he'll go to Canada, maybe read an article from Canada from both sides of the party. Then he's going to read different information that's being released by the Russian governments. You know, a Russian newspaper, either being pro or against. Then he reads it from Ukraine's view when they put out something, trying to get their information. After he has gotten all this information, he is trying to assimilate it and find out what the news is. What I try to do for you here is tell you, after I've spent 3 or 4 hours every day reading what's happening, it's how I'm assimilating all the information, and I'm telling you how I'm preparing for what I believe is coming. I think we're going to have massive food shortages, massive rise in unemployment, massive downswing in prices. We haven't seen anything yet. Remember, there's sticky categories, meaning that when the interest rate goes up, there's a continued damage for a long time. When you have land and a tsunami coming over the land, it isn't when it first breaks the beach, which is when they first announced the rate. That wave continues inland for a very long way and continues to create damage. And that's what we're going to be seeing. A lot more damage is going to be coming from those increased rates. People cannot withstand it right now. All the people that we talk to, and we talk to a lot, we're buying and selling homes every single day. When we look at those, these people are paying $1,000, $2,000 more a month. And I'm like, do you have the money? And they're like, no, we're putting it on our lines of credit. We're putting it on credit cards. This cannot last for 5 years with people. It'll drain everybody. So there's going to be some fireworks. I just want you to be prepared for it. And so what's the worst thing that can happen if you're not prepared? You didn't educate yourself and you stocked up and have some extra food lying around and bought a couple silver coins. You're still better off. So I feel what we do is very common sense investing. Remember, the fastest way to become a millionaire, fastest way is to go to the blackjack table and bet it all. Go to the roulette table and put it all on red. Spin that thing. And then, if you win, you put it all on red again and bet again. Put it all on red. The fastest way to become a millionaire. How's the fastest way to lose $1 million? Just keep betting it all on red. Okay. So I'm not in for this roller coaster. I'm in to make money for sure on the long term. That's why we're going to be assimilating, putting everything into a book. We're also going to be making a full course with about 30 different lectures, all the lessons that you have to learn, everything I've learned over 20 years. And you're going to be able to buy those things and it will help you out a lot. It'll condense everything I've ever learned for over 20 years of doing it. And guys, I started off on welfare. I was in welfare, couldn't afford food. So if I can do it, I'm sure that you smart guys can do it. Where am I? I operate out of Toronto, Canada. So in Toronto is where I live. So my real estate brokerage, we operate all over the greater Toronto area. We operate from Oshawa all the way to Niagara Falls up to Barrie. That is our main area. But we also help people buy properties in other places, like out in Alberta, like in Quebec. We just sold one today in London. We put up another property today in Toronto, really nice property at Davenport and Ossington. If you guys are interested in a 4-bedroom, 4-bed, 3-bath home up there, really, really nice house, completely redone. You can reach out to me if you want, message me anywhere. You guys, so we do that as a real estate brokerage, but we also act as consultants for people in Canada and the United States, a little bit in Europe, a couple people in Europe, but we build people to their FIRE status, financial independent, retire early. We want you to retire. Depending on where you are, we try to get you retired within 36 months if you want. Then you can choose if you want to work or not. Some people love their jobs. I love trying to help people. Right. So I'm telling you what I think is the problems on the world. And then I'm going to be building some other things to help you get through it. I want you to make a lot of money through this rough time. Why is gold sinking in a time of inflation? It is not a safe haven. This is very, very complicated. I did a course on gold and silver. Gold and silver is going to be going up a course probably within a week or two. But it all depends on what currency you're looking at it. Gold is only sinking in American dollars because of the DXY. And the DXY is what they call the Dixie, is how they judge a US dollar based on a basket of currencies. And because it's weighted so heavily against Europe, Europe is sinking. As we were talking about before, as Europe is sinking, it's making the dollar stronger, which is reducing it. So it looks like it's crashing in US dollars, but it doesn't look like it's crashing in euros. It's very, very complicated. I could get into an hour conversation on that one. Gold is still a safe haven. Gold has zero counterparty risk. You own it. You don't owe any debt on it. It has value forever. It has been and has had a value for 5,000 years. 5,000 years that we know of. Could have been longer. But gold is compressed human labor. Imagine to get gold out. If it's old gold, a pickaxe, dynamites, drilling down, machines, barrels of oil, blasting it out, right? You have to move truckloads like a mountain just to get an ounce of gold. It's very compressed labor to get that. So that's why I like it. Very, very compressed. This is an enormously compressed amount of labor just to get 1 ounce of gold. So that's why I think everybody should have some. All right, you guys, did I answer all your questions? Freddie, you said price-wise. Oh, Freddie, I'm sorry, I missed a couple of your questions over on YouTube. You said, how are numbers balancing out in Barrie? Barrie is a massively over-leveraged market and overpriced. Now, of course, we operate in Barrie, so we've been helping people buy properties for themselves, for their families, for investment for many, many, many years. We continue to do so. So I kind of have to separate myself, Freddie, into two different zones. I operate a brokerage in Toronto that services Barrie. So anybody that is looking to sell their home and make more money and do it faster, they generally call me. I have an entire team. Thanks again. Shout out to Glenn and Tessa and Alexis and Ray for helping us out. But that entire selling program, we do any buying and selling, anything here. On the side, we do consulting and consulting and advisory for people to build their wealth up to try to get them financially independent. On this side over here, when we do the advisory and consulting, we have not bought any properties in Barrie for investment purposes through the advisory and consulting. We do buy and sell properties in Barrie all the time for people as investments who are just like, I want to be within 500 meters of my home. Does that make any sense? So kind of like two different sides of the same, of David. The many faces of David. Would I do a seminar in Alberta? Yes, I have done some small seminars in Alberta, and we do seminars on Zoom about Alberta to our paid clients. We help people build property portfolios in Alberta. Freddie, you're saying, so Barrie prices are very, very high. They're going to experience some massive declines in Barrie if you're looking at it for investment purposes. But there's other people there that say, my home is worth $900,000. I know it's going to drop 30%. I'm okay with that. I just want to live in the same home and I'm comfortable with it. And you have a lot of equity, and that's cool too. And remember, what's money worth if you're not comfortable? So I want you to be comfortable at any rate. As long as you know that the market can soften and you can handle it, great. Stay there. I want you to be happy. But if we're looking at it strictly from an investment perspective, I wouldn't be buying in Barrie. Make sense? How do we join your training seminars for your training on real estate in Alberta? So you'd have to join my consultancy or advisory. You can send me an email if you want for that. That's a paid portion though. It's not free. Send me an email to contact@Rough Team Realty. Freddie, on YouTube, you said that's what you were curious to know. So yeah, Barrie homes are going to be going down. So a lot of people that we deal with, once they start seeing the math, remember, you can either believe in magic or math, and I don't believe in magic. I'm looking at everything in the scope of math, to my own detriment, maybe, because I'm always looking for the angle, right? But the Barrie homes right now are probably one of the most endangered properties for dropping. Yeah, and Barrie has a lot farther to go. Barrie has a lot farther to go for drops. It hasn't come to grips, right? It's going to continue for the next year and a half. All right, you guys. Thank you very much for coming on. I hope that you had a fun time. It's Friday night. It's kind of boring. This is heavy stuff, but I want you guys to be safe. As you know, please send me an email if you want. We're going to be setting up some links, but you can send me an email to contact@Rough Team Realty if you want to put your name on the wait list for the books. If you want to put your name on the wait list for the courses, please feel free just to email me. Write course in the subject matter if you want to be put on the wait list for the course. You can also put your name book if you want to get your name put on the wait list for the books. Just write to contact@Rough Team Realty. I'm going to be putting the links later on into the YouTube videos, all the ones moving forward. Hope you guys have a fantastic night. Remember to keep crushing it. Stay safe out there. I love you guys. And please remember just to send it maybe to one person that you know. All you guys on TikTok, if you like this type of stuff, please follow me. Same name, Rough Team Realty, over on my YouTube page. It would really help me out a lot. All right. Thanks everyone for coming by. Have a great night. See you guys.